In this example, we're going to use the DFM concurrent costing machining quick estimator to analyze the cost of this machined block. Now we can see it's got some envelope dimensions of 2 by 2.5 by 4. It's got some drilled and tapped holes in the top, and it's got a slot that is cut through the block and needs to be ground in order to achieve the required surface finish. We'll also assume that the top surface of the block needs to be finish face milled. So in the DFM software, I would call this part here the block, and let's say we'll put in a part number and we want to make 1,000 of these pieces. We'll select the block shape, we'll put in the dimensions of 2 by 2.5 by 4 inches, and we'll say it has an average thickness of 2 inches. The forming direction for a machined part is along the length of the long axis, and now I select a process and a material from the Material and Process Selection dialog box. Under Machined or Cut from Stock here, I'm going to pick the Machined Cut from Stock option, and then under Carbon Steel I'm just going to choose a generic low carbon steel. 2 items that are green on this tree, I'm going to say OK, and I'll get some cost information around the workpiece, the assumption that it's being cut from a rectangular bar using an abrasive cutoff machine. At this point, I would select this option here to say I want to do a quick estimate of this piece, in which the software now puts this machining operations button underneath here, and a default shape type is chosen for me from that part classification box. Here I need to choose what I think the appropriate shape type would be, and so here a primary, planar, and secondary operations choice would be most appropriate. I don't have to reclamp this part in the workpiece. I can do all the machine. I can do all the machining on one surface, but now I need to specify the number of features that are going to be machined into this piece. So the finish machined planar features is going to be 1. That's going to be just that top surface. The rough milled features is going to be 1. That's going to be the slot that I'm going to mill through the piece. The drilled secondary holes are 2. The threaded secondary holes are 2. And the ground planar features are going to be 1. So at that point I've told the software those are the features that I want to machine. And if I click Calculate, the software will make some guesses about the areas of those parts that are actually going to be machined. Now if I wanted a really rough estimate of the cost, I could at this point consider that finished. Or I can go through now and supply the dimensions of these features by using the geometry calculator. And we can see from the geometry calculator box that comes up here, I can use these tabs to build up those areas. So the volume of the part was a block that was 2 by 2.5 by 4, and it actually has a rectangle removed from it that is 1/2 inch by 2.5 inches by 3/4 of an inch wide. The finish milled area is just that section on top of the part, which was 2.5 by 4. So that's the area of that top section of the block that I want to do the finish milling on to achieve that 250 micro-inch surface finish. Now I have to use this ring shape here to define the area of the drilled parts. Well, those holes are 201 in diameter, and they are 3/4 of an inch deep, and there are 2 of those. And then I have to use it again to define the area of the threaded features. The threaded features are 1/2 inch deep, and they have a thread diameter of about 250 thousandths. And then finally, the ground surface is just the bottom edge of the bottom surface of that slot that is 3/4 by 2.5. We're going to specify the dimensions of that ground feature. Once I've added the dimensions of those features to this, I can, from the geometry menu, choose Transfer and Close, and the software will populate the library here for me, the data here for me from the geometry calculator, at which point I can click Calculate and see the results of the cost analysis. Now at this point I would actually be finished, and if I clicked all the way up here at the top, I can see that $5.85 is the estimate of the cost of this part using the Machining Quick Cost Estimator. If I did want to see the details of the machines that the software had automatically selected for me based on these properties I've described, I can check this box here that says Display Machine Features, and the software will show me the machine tools that have been chosen along with their costs and rates and performance characteristics in order to go about machining that piece. And I could edit those values if I wanted and click calculate. But at this point we'd be done, and again we could use the reporting features available to us in the software to communicate the results of this to other members of our team.